Politico has a report out about how Hillary Clinton and her team view their loss in the general election to Donald Trump. And shocker, they blame absolutely everything but themselves. So they explain here, Sexism, the media, James Comey, on a call with surrogates Thursday afternoon, top advisors John Podesta and Jennifer Palmieri pinned blame for Hillary Clinton's loss on a host of uncontrollable headwinds that ultimately failed a well-run campaign that executed a sensible strategy and a soldier of a candidate who appealed to the broadest coalition of voters in the country. So, what's hilarious is, you know who was one of the few people who was more right? They go on to explain in the article that Bill Clinton every now and then would pipe up and say, okay, I just want to give you guys a little heads up here. I think you may be ignoring the Rust Belt, and I think you may be ignoring the middle-class white voters who lost their factory jobs and are kind of left behind. Now, it's hilarious because, of course, Bill Clinton signed NAFTA, so he's partly responsible for the destruction of that demographic group. But every now and then, Clinton would pipe up and say, guys, just a thought here. Maybe you reel it in a little bit with the stronger together and you break down your barriers talk. And you, I don't know, maybe go and campaign in those areas. Go to Wisconsin, which you think is a lockup, but maybe it's not. And, you know, try to argue in favor of those people. So he was right. But every time he brought it up, they say in the article that, you know, the Robbie Mook, the campaign manager, and other people were like, that's Bill, shut the fuck up. Like, get the fuck out of here. What are you talking about? We know what we're doing, Bill. That's not the future. The future's not the angry white man. They're not going to win this election. Oops. But look at the arrogance, man. There's zero self-reflection, and I warned you that this would happen. I mean, this is something that you could see it from a mile away with the Clintons. I mean, there was a tiny percentage chance that if they lose, that they go, okay, well, we have to reevaluate here. What did we do wrong? But they basically pulled a Mitt Romney. Now, if you guys don't remember, after the 2012 election, what did Mitt Romney say? He was on a call with his donors, and he said, well, look, the reason we lost is because President Blackie McBlackington over here said, I'm going to give away free stuff to black people. And everybody's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. First of all, that's totally not true. Second of all, Jesus, man, with the latent bigotry. What's going on here? Now, with Hillary Clinton, she's deflecting also. Well, you know, I mean, look, James Comey. First of all, James Comey, so they had the email announcement. Not that long after that announcement, which was like, what, 2 weeks before the election? He cleared her again. He cleared her like 2 or 3 days before the election. And so you saw, and it was very clear to see it in the polls, an actual bump up from him clearing her again. So if anything, it was the opposite of what she's talking about. She's like, oh my God, that hurt me. No, it helped you because he cleared you before the election, and there was a tangible bump in the polls in the last round of polls before the actual voting happened. So if anything, it helped you. But no, deflect, deflect, deflect. Blame James Comey. Blame the media. Blame the media? What the fuck are you talking about? I mean, we covered the story. What is it? The overwhelming majority of the American people, over 70% of the American people, say the media was biased against Donald Trump. Because it kind of was. I mean, how many stories from WikiLeaks do we need to see where, I mean, you were in collusion with the media. Debbie Wasserman Schultz during the primary saying, I'm going to go to the head of MSNBC and tell them Morning Joe isn't treating us very fairly. You know, and Donna Brazil's slipping you questions multiple times before a debate. The nerve of the Hillary campaign to say, well, you know, the media, that's the problem. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And then sexism. So you know what that means, right? The Bernie bros is what they're angry about. Oh, the Bernie bros, you know, progressives wouldn't fucking fall in line. Maybe you didn't give them a reason enough to fall in line. Maybe you're a bad candidate. Maybe you can't even hold your goddamn base as you're running after neocons to try to get their vote. Politics 101 is don't abandon your base. You did that at every opportunity. This idea of, no, Hillary moved left, you know, in the general, Bernie held her accountable. She did some on the policy platform. She was like, yeah, okay, whatever. I give up on some of them. You can take it. Doesn't mean I'm actually going to implement it, but there, put it in the platform. It's symbolic. But what did she actually do during the general election? She was on stage with Bush-era neocons. She picked Ken Salazar to be in charge of the financials of the campaign. I mean, this deep Wall Street characters here and insiders. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. There's an article in The Hill that said the Hillary camp was so convinced they were going to win, they popped champagne early on Tuesday. Oh, that's so sad. Oh, that's the saddest thing I've ever heard in my life. And then as they watch it come in, no, we're losing. You know, the thing is, she probably didn't come out on that night because she was shocked, but also because they probably didn't have a concession speech prepared. That was another story about Romney in 2012. They were so convinced they were going to win that they didn't have a concession speech prepared. But you think Hillary Clinton had a concession speech prepared? Oh, not a snowball's chance in hell, son. Not a snowball's chance in hell. So, now you know. They're going to blame everything but themselves, when the reality is, you built that. You are a Democratic candidate who supported the Iraq War, supported NAFTA, supported deregulating Wall Street, supported TPP, support intervention in Syria, supported and orchestrated intervention in Libya, armed child soldiers in South Sudan, orchestrated a coup in Honduras. The list goes on with all of the disgusting, grotesque, far-right things that you did. When you mix that with your over-the-top corruption, you know, everybody knows the story. He's taken over $600,000 from Goldman Sachs for 2 speeches and pretending that there's not pay-to-play going on and there's not corruption going on and that's not legalized bribery. When you look at that in the Clinton Foundation and every campaign you guys have run, the Clinton family has raised over $3 billion in their career. You really expected to pull the wool over people's eyes and make them go, oh yeah, no, I'm sure she's fighting for the people. It's so obvious you're an establishment insider. And you look, that was one of the things you said during your campaign. America's already great. What the you're supposed to say, I'm running to fix the problems in the country. But instead of saying that, you gave this argument of, well, we're already doing pretty good, right? No, but then why should anybody think you're going to fight to better the healthcare system? Why should anybody think you're going to fight, you know, to make the minimum wage a living wage? Why should anybody think you're going to fight to end the disastrous wars if your argument is, well, we're good no matter what we do. We're already great, right? You know, and then at the same time, you'd say, well, break down the barriers and stronger together. So that's also a little bit of a contradiction because, well, there's so many barriers, which is terrible, so we got to break those down. But we're already great. It's just her campaign was just platitudes and cliches, and it was trying to put a veneer over her deep corruption and establishment ties, and it simply didn't work. And now that the chickens came home to roost, they're deflecting and blaming everybody but themselves. Well, I have some advice for them. Buy a mirror and look in it.